Yeah, not my computer. Should ask everyone consent. And it's now, I think it started. I'm getting mixed signals by my app here. Weird. Anyway, we are back with Contributor Summit EU organizational meeting today, every Monday. Today is March 28th. The host Puya. This meeting is community meeting, so the COC applies. Basically, be excellent to each other. Bob, thanks for posting the notes. There, I added a bit of an agenda based on what we worked for around last time. We do have a board by now. The link is in the notes. I'll also add it to the channel. I think I haven't done that yet. And yeah, if we have issues that are not tracked in there and you're not able to add them yourself, just ping me or Elson and we can add them to the board. But I think it's pretty much possible to add issues to the board. We still have a PR open to add people to the team. Okay. Basically, there's still not a lot in the board yet, but let's go through the notes from last time. And there was still some open items that we didn't either write down in the notes fully, or might have not made a full decision yet. On the venue, I realized we still had written down that we have in the large room rounds only. Deb, remind me if we clarified that last time, but we said, I think half of it we want kind of theater mode and then the other half in rounds, right?
Yeah, I'm waiting to get the mock-up of that from our AV team to ensure you can actually fit enough people in that way.
Okay, cool. Then this will be waiting for markup. That's good. Anything else from the organizational side, Deb?
For registration, I shared with Arnaud and Josh the reg form docs. We just need to get the updates that you want to see on the reg form in there in the next day or two, so we can make that those changes and then make that live. So if you'll send that back to me as soon as it's ready, we'll make those changes. For the social, we're doing the busing. We're looking into that information right now, and I'll have another update for that in the future. I am waiting to talk to the CNCF team on the SIG meet and greet during lunch, and we'll have an update for you on that in the future as well. And I think that's it from my side at the moment.
Did we last time decide which of the two venues we want, Josh?
Yeah, you had this. Oh, sorry.
Well, actually, I should leave this up. Arnaud's on the call. He's in charge.
Yeah.
Oh, not something specific to report from last week, except the conversation I have with Deb and Josh about the registration process. I think it could be great to basically finish with the registration process from this week and have the website up by end of the week, so we inform people the event is gonna happen, because we basically in end of March, it's just 2 weeks and 2 months until the event. So we really need to get the event site with the registration process up by end of the week.
Indeed, and people are most probably booking their hotels and accommodations and
yes,
transport.
So you need to inform people if they want to basically attend the event, they basically need to fly on Sunday or something like that.
Cool.
And that's it for me.
Thank you. On the social, sorry.
On the social venue, we finalized option 2, which was have the games and things. Cool. And then we're going to work with Josh to bring in some additional games and kind of stuff like that.
Yeah,
very nice.
We haven't really done anything over the last week because we didn't need to.
we got
And
time.
admittedly, I'm also program staff for KNativeCon, and we decided the schedule last week. So that was like all of my event planning time.
Cool. At least we have the venue down, so there's no rush,
Yeah.
I guess,
And-
with content.
And this will lead over into registration. I'm going to work with Deb and Arnaud to figure out wording, because we really need to we want to ask a question on the registration about the social to try to get an idea of whether or not people are really planning on going to the social, because we want to get some idea of numbers. Like, we don't want to be in a situation. A few years ago, we had another social that was pretty distant from the conference venue.
Yeah.
And like 150 people RSVP'd for it and 25 showed up. And it would be nice to not have that disparity. I'm not if anybody has any ideas on how we can get people to make a realistic estimate of their ability to attend, that would be wonderful.
I could imagine this time, because it's being on the Monday, and I know at least already that a few people are arriving mid-Monday, that we might even get some people that would like to come to the social but are arriving so late that they are not able to come to the Contributor Summit itself. That would be weird, but I could imagine this time this thing happening too. Not sure if you want to somehow ask for that in the registration.
Like, how many people are registered for a full day on a Tuesday event?
Yeah.
The one big question is how many of those people are contributors.
Hmm.
And I'm not sure whether or not the CNCF LF has weird rules about what they can provide in its ND data. Not weird rules, privacy rules. So I don't know what we're allowed to know.
Arnaud?
Yeah, I think because we have a registration process for the event, we can basically try to elaborate how many people are going to attend by end of April if we roll out the website quickly. Because we have a question about, are you going to attend the event celebration in the process? So with that, we can kind of basically have an estimate about how many people gonna attend the event.
Yeah, I mean, my question is, people are used to, for social events, people are used to checking yes, whether or not they've even thought about whether or not they're going.
Yeah.
Because with the idea that if they don't register, they won't be able to go. Whereas if they do register, they can decide later to not go. And that's fine for any individual, but in the aggregate, it leads to problems with us estimating stuff. I mean, maybe the answer is we probably can't do this through the registration form. The answer is we start looking at who said they were going to the social, and I start emailing them about bringing board games. And based on the response to that, I actually get a good idea of who's really planning on going.
Yeah, I think that's the plan.
We can also send out like other emails to everyone that's registered closer to the event and just be like, hey, I know SurveyMonkey and Google Forms can do like the one question type thing too. So if they're literally just like clicking one button from their email, it's like, do you still plan to attend the social? We might be able to get.
Are you talking about not putting this question on the reg form and having it be separate, or would this be like
No
confirmation closer to the event to say, yes, we're still doing it?
Yeah, no, we need it on the reg form. It's just that it being on the reg form is not enough, because people will check yes, and they haven't really thought about it, and they don't have enough information to decide if they're really going. I mean, ultimately, we're going to get a certain number of people who don't even look until Monday and say, oh, I have to take a bus to this. I'm not going.
Yeah.
We can also put
I
a
know
comment
in
about it in
the other
reg.
one that was fairly distant from the venue, I ended up doing exactly that, mostly because I just ended up staying on the opposite side of the convention center. So it was going to be like an hour trip. So So we're going to get a certain amount of that. I'm just trying to minimize the amount so that we have a better idea of how many people are actually going to show up. And I think follow-ups are the only way to do that, because anything we put in the reg form, I mean, we should say in the reg form, you know, this will be an offsite venue and you will have to take a bus or private transportation. I'm also planning, by the way, to set up a worksheet save with KDev so that people can ride pool.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Again, suggestions for how people can provide their contact information without providing it with the world are very welcome. It's one thing I haven't figured out about that.
Exchange Slack handles.
Yeah, probably it's the best way to go.
Yeah, I was also thinking Slack. We have a channel people can add.
I think to answer to Josh, we can basically have the registration form up right now without basically mention the venue, and I would say beginning of May we send the information about the venue and ask confirmation if they're gonna attend, and basically a week or 2 weeks before the event we send another email asking again for confirmation. So we have basically a way to clarify the situation about the social.
Yeah, and also if I'm sending out stuff about bring a board game and ride pool setups, like particularly like share out ride pool sharing, then people are gonna get the idea, yes, we really do mean it's not walking distance. And yes, they should really think about getting there or not getting there.
So we can basically we can reduce the number of people for the social if we do that progressively. Like, okay, we have the venue confirmed after the website is up, so we send to the people that did the registration and we say, oh, this is the venue, and if we get confirmation from them, we can also close up again by sending, oh, confirm again, and make sure, not make sure, but if you have an interesting game to bring up, you can do that. And we ask confirmation again. So I don't know if it's okay for Deb to get the final number maybe a week before the event. I'm not sure how CNCF can organize that.
Yeah,
I think that you're not going to get a true number either way, because people are going to be like, oh, well, I already registered for this. I'm not paying attention to having to click something else again. Either way, the numbers aren't going to come back 100% accurate.
Yeah, my goal is to get them down from plus or minus 600%, which is how they start off, right? Yeah. If it's plus or minus 50%, I figure that's accurate enough for planning purposes. One of the other things about the registration form, question for the registration form is for whoever's in charge of content unconference stuff, who is in charge of content unconference stuff?
I did try to find it in the last notes, and but it's not in the notes and also not in the issue. That's what I wanted to then bring up again now. Basically, we need someone to lead content. We don't have a content lead yet.
Question, like, I wasn't here at the last meeting, but do we actually need, like, if it's going to be like NA, do you need content?
You need somebody to organize the unconference.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we are doing unconference.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
and for that, and for that matter, we don't have a content lead, so we didn't decide this. The other question was, I thought we were going to leave a room open for SIGs to reserve, and they're going to want to reserve in advance so they can have their people there. So, and so my question about registration was, do we want any questions on the registration form related to that? But it sounds like we don't know.
I think that would be good. I think we last time decided we want to give SIGs the opportunity. And besides actively reaching out, we should add that to the registration. On the content lead, ideally someone who has a bit of on-conference experience would work, just for like, okay, communicating, we are opening this, we're now adding I don't know. We're now adding votes, and then we're closing the voting and announcing kind of the schedule. Or not.
Yeah, I think just for basically the content of the in-conference format, we should basically talk to the SIG leads only, and basically trying to leave them the possibility to organize some kind of meetings of session about their SIG, and not put that in the registration form, because basically they are the one responsible to define what a SIG want to talk about during the contributor summit.
Yeah, I was thinking more a question of, do you have a SIG working group or other team that wants to have a meeting at the contributor summit? Question. Yeah. And then we would email those people based on their response.
Okay.
Yeah, because I know like the cluster API people, they would love a room. They're looking for one right now.
Yeah. So my suggestion would be two generic questions. One is, do you have a SIG working group or other team that wants to have a meeting at the contributor summit? And then we contact those people based on their response. And the second question would be, most of the contributor summit will be unconference style. Do you think you're going to be interested in leading an unconference session? And that doesn't necessarily mean anything. It just gives us extra people to bug when it comes time to do the sessions, but with the idea that we haven't decided how we're deciding on sessions.
Well, I would say it's better to have that, to do this on site, like, because the main point of an conference is I've someone driving the subject, and basically trying to organize that chaos in the different room, but not do that before the event.
Yeah,
because we want to gather people in basically during the event and decide what they want to talk about, and put those subjects in the board and say, oh, this is the brand. Put your subject. If someone's interested, the person will follow up, and you can think about this.
I was thinking of it more from this sort of perspective of, if we ask people that question, then some of them will start thinking about what could I present at a contributor and conference before they actually get there.
Yeah. You want to let them know that there is going to be an unconference thing there.
And it's my experience that people pay somewhat more attention to questions they have to check a box for on a registration form than they do to anything that's written in the header of that registration form. I'll tell you, as the person who runs surveys for Kubernetes, the number of questions I get about something that was explicitly written out in the introduction to the survey is depressing.
Busy people.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that would be kind of up to that, because we've done various ways, right? We decided on everything in advance. We decided on everything on the spot, like the morning of the event. And we did a sort of compromise thing where people proposed topics ahead of time, and we actually voted on them at the social, which at the time was the night before. That won't be an option here because the social is afterwards.
Yeah.
But we need somebody to run that. And it's not me, particularly if I'm heading up the party.
Do we have anyone who has a bit of unconference experience?
Everybody in the call has a role, so we probably need to throw this out.
Yeah. I would try to add a question about the subject I would suggest something in the registration process, like a general question. Do you have a subject in mind?
Yeah.
We don't need to collect the subject, but we just need to basically introduce the idea of the subject to talk about.
Yep. Nigel, are you raising your hand? Okay, I guess Nigel's somewhere where he can't use audio. It's I just saying if okay. So you might be up for it if you can. People look at chat for Nigel's responses.
Yeah.
You might be up for it if you can attend. Okay. let's throw that in there. I mean, the nice thing about it is it's a small unconference. So for somebody who has a little bit of experience with an unconference event, it can actually be a decent first one for them.
Yeah, we have
It's not like running, DEF CON unconference.
Yeah, Nigel's comment, excuse me, ties into mine in that we're just getting a lot of travel pressure this year.
Oh, hey, I didn't get my travel cleared until last Thursday.
Yeah,
last meeting, I wasn't even certain I was going to be at the contributor social.
Well, ours are apparently in the budgeting process. There were several criteria, but one of them is, gee, we had a big budget 2 years ago and we didn't spend much. And last year we had a tiny budget and we didn't spend all of that. So let's do that again. But so.
Yep. Not to interrupt, but Deb has to leave in 4 minutes. So is there any outstanding questions for her?
Just checking the notes. I don't think so.
Nope. Quick question. SIG Docs has asked about having a thing, which is a good idea. How many rooms do we have again?
You have 3 smaller rooms for breakout kind of meeting thing.
Okay.
So we can make a sign up sheet for that.
Okay. So do we want to go ahead and give one of those rooms to SIG Docs? I don't see any reason not to.
Happy to.
Okay.
They asked a while ago, like before we even start planning, that they would have one room for their doc sprint.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I didn't know when they and apparently not all of them knew because somebody asked me. So
is the room big enough for them? I don't know how many there are.
It's fine.
Yeah, they don't usually get more than, even in 2019, they were only getting about 15 people showing up for doc sprint.
Okay, yeah, good.
They had a room in North America, and I don't think they even showed up for that one.
They did, but they showed up in the common room. They didn't actually use the private room.
Okay.
I honestly kind of expect that to wind up happening here too, just because, it's easier for people to drop in and out to it.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's not going to be a lot of contributors there, it's just kind of a bit better to be
On the other hand, I don't think we're likely to run out of rooms. I mean, with realistic attendance, having 2 breakout rooms for conference sessions.
They're not big rooms though. They fit about 15 people boardroom, each of them.
That's fine.
Okay. So more of a SIG meeting room and less of an unconference room.
Yeah.
We have the big room for the unconference.
Yeah. Okay.
Our unconferences, what sessions at North America in, I think it was not 2019, 2018.
Yes, I think.
For the most part, stayed in like the 15 person range too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, even that one. That was a big one though, right?
Yeah,
a big summit.
Yeah, I'm gonna if we have enough people there, I'm gonna put the reliability discussion in the hat though, and that's when we'll want to have in the big room. But that's fine, right? Is we can figure out from topics how broad they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they'll be straightforward, I think.
Yeah, and like a discussion about reliability across the project would be a big room topic. A discussion about how do we manage V2 API change transition for cluster API is going to be a small room topic.
Yep.
Okay, any other last minute questions for Deb?
No takers.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Deb.
Sorry, I didn't mean to like interrupt and cut you off or anything. I just wanted to make sure.
Oh, perfect. Good. Then, content lead, we'll put that on hold. Worst case, if you can't travel over, I have a bit of unconference experience, and I can just ask one of my colleagues to give me the heads up, the kind of short course on doing that, because she's doing it for like years already, so I can get a quick primer on that. that should be fine. That said, we did mention in the draft agenda that we'd like to have one or maybe two sessions that we kind of bracket the unconference with. One of the suggestions was steering AMA. Can we do, like, do we have enough steering on site?
Most of, well, I will say most of steering is waiting to make their call on going to the first week of April. But as of right now, most of steering will be there. There will also be a steering AMA during KubeCon proper.
Oh, why? Okay. So would steering be okay with doing another one in Contributor Summit?
Yeah, I think it's largely two different audiences.
Yes, yeah, cool. Okay, so who would we need to ping for that? Like, or is basically Bob, right?
I can just ping steering right now.
Okay. Yeah, perfect. Thanks. Good. Do we want another session to kind of kick it off? I don't know. We wanted the steering to be kind of the closer, I remember, or was there a different suggestion? Or do we open with the steering AMA?
I'd say closer would be better.
Fits better. Do we want an opener, kind of lightning keynote talk to get everyone kind of a bit going?
Yes, no,
Yes,
maybe, I
yes-ish,
don't know.
right?
I mean, yeah, there needs to be something.
We need an idea.
Yeah,
Course, right.
but it's like, what do we talk about?
Yeah. I have a tough time thinking of like, who could we ask to kind of.
And honestly, most of the contributor topics aren't going to be a lightning talk.
No.
Yeah, that's the
No.
issue. It's like,
I would say honestly, an opener for the contributor day is less important simply because people drift in.
Yeah.
You know, people are
Right.
often show up late for these. And this is, by the way, the reason why after the one attempt of arranging the unconference schedule at the beginning of the day, we did it differently, was that between the Europeans who are actually literally flying in that morning and the folks who flew in the day previously and have horrid jet lag and don't get there at the beginning, it's hard. Less than 50% of the attendees are often there at the very opening.
Yeah, I would honestly just bank on the opening being like, hi, thanks for coming.
Yep.
General reminder, we're doing the social and the generic intro talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus one to what Bob said. But one thing we did do we do at SIG meet and greets, is we have somebody at the door to like let people know what's going on and what's happening kind of thing. We could do something like that again at just on this scale, you know, as far as like what's happening, what's going on in the room at that moment. You know, somebody just showing by the
okay,
door.
so like someone who briefs like where we're at.
Yeah, like, you know, hey, if you want to talk to
cool.
so-and-so about docs, they're over there in that corner. If you want to talk to so-and-so about, you know, at
That's a
CD,
cool idea.
they're down the hall, you know, that kind of stuff, right? Like,
oh, right. That makes sense. That makes sense. Like people will.
I felt like a traffic cop or like a hall monitor to an extent, but it was very helpful for a lot of people because, you know, all the SIGs were in the room. If you remember in Seattle, it was like just one massive room with just a bunch of tables in it. Yeah,
right. Yeah, and people will kind of like tumble in over the day. It's, that's a good idea. Good. So yeah, let's just do an opener. We did already kind of count in that we don't do the opener like right at the start. We start with like a bit of like just breakfast and banter, and then do the opener like an hour after start, which is still early for both people who just arrive and for jet lag people. I definitely know that feeling. But then we're good, I think. Yeah. You can just intro that it's an unconference, where to add your topics. Cool. Then there is still one slot on the team that we didn't talk about, which is marketing lead. I'm not even sure what the marketing team does, to be honest. Like, is that comms or and website and?
Yep.
Yeah, comms, website stuff, blogs,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. Slack bots, Twitter, the whole 9 yards.
And particularly because we're planning this kind of late, we're going to need, and because the whole travel situation is so dicey for everybody, we're going to need lots of comms for people to just be even aware that it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
which means we should actually talk about maybe open an issue and talk about sort of a comms plan. Like,
Yeah.
can we come up with something to post every week, even if, you know, it's coming soon type stuff.
Yeah, like I would just open an issue and communications / upstream marketing or marketing. I forget the directory name, but yeah, like open an issue there and just say, we need a series of tweets about Contributor Summit at KubeCon EU every X days or something like that. And we'll figure out the rest, kind of thing.
I think really the first thing that needs to happen is the site needs to go live.
Yeah.
Right. Like that has
Like
to happen.
that.
We gotta have something to point them to.
Yeah. That I think is in kates.dev/summit. Just I think it was the handle we've been using previously for the whatever the active summit is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's still pointing to the last one right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is that, makes sense. That can be
Sure.
Yep.
But yeah,
That's cool.
I would consider that the P0 of this week outside of Reg.
Yeah.
Who can take the lead on this? I want a bit of
The
experience in
page?
that.
Or
Yeah.
okay.
I can basically copy paste what we've done for
Cool.
previous ones, and then that's one nice thing with it being in Hugo. I can literally just copy the directory over and change some stuff.
I like Hugo. Is it still Doxy now?
Yeah, still Doxy.
Doxy is easy. It's good.
Yeah, once it's working, it's easy.
Yeah. I did set up our internal Doxy, so it was a small hackathon by myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've tried to convert my site over to Doxy more times than I can count. I just usually am like, it's not worth this much.
Yep. Cool. Then once we have registration and page up, we'll send it out. Do we add it to Kate's dev mailing list then also, right?
Yeah, we should send it out there. If we want to get feedback from SIGs, we have the Slack bot, the announced Slack bot thing too, that we could deploy if you want. Definitely email SIG leads and that kind of thing.
I would do the Slack channel blast once the content, like the website is up and registration is there.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there's like no follow-up item for them. So it's kind of just like,
yeah, like there's a lot of levers we can pull, but we can't pull it until we have places to send them.
Anything besides the Slack announcement to do actively to reach out to SIGs? I think we do enough with the mail and the registration and the announcements, right? Or do we usually do more there?
We've done that much in the past.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean,
Right.
I think we've done emails before. Might have poked a couple Slacks that were unresponsive, maybe.
Yeah, I don't want to poke too much because I guess some SIGs will be just very lightweight at the conference. So I mean,
And that's
people are not
fine,
going,
right?
it's fine, right? It's,
Yeah, that's
don't need
totally
to-
fine.
need to
We just
push
need to,
anyone.
you know, message it in a caring way, right? Like that's the biggest
Yeah.
thing. Like, hey, we understand a lot of people won't be there, but if you're interested, this is happening. Feel free to join your fellow SIG mates, whatever you want to call them, you know.
Yep.
SIGians. What do you call us SIG members?
Members. Naming is hard.
Yes.
Cool. Anything that's not on the list that we haven't talked about yet? Good. I think.
Book your hotel if you haven't done it already.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
do that.
Apparently hotels are like out.
I've heard like we were very early, and then like 2 days later, our hotel was booked out.
Yeah, like people were like telling me, why did you book this so early? I was like, you'll see.
Yeah.
And they're like, damn it, I wish I booked it when you did.
Very happy we had like lots of people working on that like while I was away, and then I came back, I was like, oh, hotel's booked, nice. Yes. Yeah, and if you can book travel already, do that, yes.
Oh yeah, definitely book hotel, even if you're not allowed to book other forms of travel yet.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can always cancel a hotel like
Yep,
up to a
book
week after.
refundable.
Hotel canceling is
Yeah.
definitely easier.
By the way, for people who are in this boat, the hotel blocks for the conference become not fully refundable on April 12th or 13th, I believe.
Yeah.
So I ended up actually booking outside the conference block for my
Same.
contingency
Yeah.
housing because, well, because I have to. The yeah. For people who are flying in, make sure to check on the possibility of flying. If you're not getting reasonable connections to Valencia, check on the possibility of flying to Madrid or Barcelona and taking a train.
Yeah, Barcelona
both-
trains are really fast.
Yeah, in both cases, there's an express train that goes directly to Valencia.
Yeah.
So it's a reasonable.
We had some people fly into Alicante, which is actually even smaller than Valencia, but has some options that Valencia doesn't have. And it's like a 1.5 hour train ride, which is very nice too.
Might be kicking myself for booking all the way through to Valencia. We'll see.
Yep.
I have a direct flight to Valencia, which is super nice.
I mean,
I
have
I
one
was
hop.
expecting.
That's it.
I was
So good.
expecting to fly into Madrid because when I mean, mind you, when I checked on this 3 months ago, if I'd been allowed to book my travel then, I actually was able to find a $500 ticket to Madrid. But when I actually got to book last week, flying
I bet.
directly into Valencia only cost about $150 more. So
Ooh, that's a good point.
the and mind you, anybody booking from North America to get there at this point is going to have to deal with some annoying connections.
Hmm.
I'm actually staying overnight in the Amsterdam airport on the way back.
Wow.
Ouch.
Well, it was either staying overnight in the Amsterdam airport or having 3 connections, one of which is Charles de Gaulle.
I'm flying through Charles de Gaulle both ways. So wish me luck.
Yep. The I hope you have a long layover.
I do. I think it's like 6 hours.
Okay, that should be enough time to get across Charlottesville.
Yeah.
The yeah. So okay. At some point when we decide who's the unconference person, then we'll follow up on that.
Yep.
The Nigel, let us know if you get approval to go, and you can take that on. The
Sounds good.
okay.
Very good.
Yeah, in the meantime, I'll help Arna get registration out this week. Roger, we can start working on party stuff the week after.
Thank you. Then if anyone needs anything, just ping on Slack. If you need travel recommendations, also happy to help. Been in that area quite a while, quite a few times, like once a year in that area. And otherwise, see you next week. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Later.